Sunnydale is gonna rule.
Hey, Scoobies, and welcome to episode 53 of Gur Ardcast, the Buffy Rewatch podcast, where we recap every episode of Buffy and Angel. I'm your host, Brandon Ellison.
I'm Jewel Rocket Rose, and I almost missed my entrance.
And this week we are talking about the Buffy Season 5 premiere, Buffy vs. Dracula, and the Angel Season 2 premiere, Judgment. Jewel, we've been
and
off
I
for a
have
couple
some.
Yes,
I have some
you
judgment.
always do. We have been off for a couple weeks. We both just had a lot going on in our personal lives that we had to take some time and chill and deal with. So I'm happy to be back. I don't know about you.
Oh, thrilled to bits.
I can tell. Make sure your microphone is set correctly if you don't mind. I'm sure it is, but I have to say it.
I mean, it's all it. And you know what? The thing is, you always know when it's.
There we go.
You guys, I don't know if anyone else out there is struggling, but I am struggling this week. I am captain of the struggle bus, and it's been a hard week.
Yeah, it's been a hard week for Buffy fans, for sure. So I think everyone can kind of relate to that. Before we talk about sort of our normal run of show stuff, I want to talk. So, couple things. First of all, we're doing this episode as a public episode. We are planning on going to Patreon only for our live episodes and then putting the audio of the podcast up the next day. We're still going to be starting that next week, and we'll come back and talk about that at the end of the episode. But this week was a big week for Buffy fans in a terrible way. And I decided that we should go public with this and let people give their input and their ideas on what they feel about this. So if you're watching this and you respond in the comments, we'll read them live. So this week, Charisma Carpenter put on Instagram and Twitter,
AKA Cordelia. Can we, for our laymen, for the me's out there, let's identify by character.
Yeah, so Cordelia, Charisma Carpenter, who plays Cordelia, posted some allegations against Joss Whedon, the creator and producer and writer of Buffy, and Angel and Firefly and Dollhouse and the first two Avengers movies and a bunch of other stuff, Cabin in the Woods. And it basically calls him out for being cruel to her on set, and stuff regarding her pregnancy, where she got pregnant. She didn't expect to get pregnant, and he berated her for that. I believe that the words she used were casually cruel or casual cruelty. And it was followed up by a lot of other comments.
I believe he asked her if she was going to keep it, if they were going to go through with it.
Yeah, and then they had a contract to bring her back without getting too spoilery. She goes away in the middle of at the end of the fourth season. There was some contract negotiations to bring her back in the fifth season with the promise that they wouldn't kill her off, and then they did it anyway. So she felt like she was being punished in the way that panned out for her. It is spoilery that Cordy dies, but it's not till the fifth season of Angel. You'll forget it by then, Jewel.
I got to tell you, I have forgotten what's happened in this episode of Angel.
Okay, great.
In my life.
Sarah Michelle Gellar responded and said that she's proud to have her name associated with Buffy Summers, but she doesn't want to be forever associated with the name Joss Whedon. She's focused on raising her family, so she's not making any further statements. Michelle Trachtenberg shared that. She's 35 now, but she talked about she was a teenager. He was really inappropriate.
And she wasn't allowed to be in a room alone with him.
Yes, there was a rule that she wasn't allowed to be in a room alone with her again. Now, we don't know what that means. We don't know until she gives a further statement or he gives a statement or there's some kind of statement. We don't know if that means that he was cruel to her. From what I have seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, everything here has been about him being cruel or rude to people on set, right? Unprofessional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't seen any allegations of sexual misconduct or anything like that. That being said, this is stuff that has to be addressed. And Jewel and I both work in the entertainment industry and have for a very long time. And we have met, I'm sure when you read Charisma's post that you could relate that to a lot of people that you've worked with in the business.
Yeah.
And I can as well.
Very much so.
Jewel and I are two nice people that work in production. We are,
and but there are people out there. I will say there's like some really fantastic people that I have had the pleasure of working with over the years. And then there are some who, you know what, karma knows your address, and when it's time to collect, they will come a knocking. I mean, that's all I can wish for them.
I'll tell you on a deep level, I've had a lot of issues with this, and I've been working through a lot. It's hard for me to reconcile that somebody who created this show that's all about female empowerment and women kicking ass, and also wrote episodes like the episode where Buffy comes out to her mom as the Slayer, which is like very thinly veiled gay allegories, and that sort of thing. That's all. It's hard for me to reconcile that with the person that he's being accused of being. And that now, I mean, enough people have made statements. I think it's safe to say that it's pretty well accepted that he was very cruel. To answer the questions in the comments, yes, all your comments are coming through. I'm trying to get through this, and then we're going to talk about what you guys are saying. There's an episode coming up this season that Path could have written the episode that we're getting later this season because it's one of the most powerful episodes of television I think I've ever seen. So I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings. Jewel, what's your take on this?
Well, I mean, who's surprised? I'm a little shocked by people being shocked at this point. I think this was like awaiting confirmation to happen. This is not unheard of in the business, and it's not an anomaly either. This is, what happens every day, and it's happened to women for, I mean, a pretty impactful time. I mean, I've had experiences on set still to this day. I've had experiences with very high-ranking people in the entertainment industry that have been, not colored in a proper light also while I was underage, or not legally underage, but it was inappropriate. Let's just put it that way. But we had to deal with it and move on. And I think it's amazing now that it's being called out. I think it's important that these stories are told so this doesn't happen anymore. There's no reason for it to happen anymore. I think we are I'd like to believe we're an evolved enough society where this could be fine. But I'm also not surprised by what you said earlier about, someone who wrote a character like this and a show like this could behave differently in his private life.
Yeah.
I don't understand the surprise in that, because you and I both know well. I mean, Keith Raniere example. NXIVM was the cult that was just in. He was just put or sentenced to 120 years in jail because it was a women's empowerment group. And he had a group of slaves within this empowerment group. It's a power thing. It's a power struggle. And also Joss is one of those men in the creative realm who have been told that they're crazy, and, it is passion, or their unprofessionalism shows their passion, and it's been excused for a very long time. And women, if we say one word, we're called a bitch. So, labels, I guess, are a little bit easier to place on others.
So I understand that. I what I'll say is it does seem like it was very targeted, because we've had several people on our show, and of course, like, it took 20 years for these stories to come out. The show ended 17 to 20 years ago. It took 20 years for this to happen. So obviously the people that we've had on the show have their own experiences. Every person that we've had on the show talked about what a blast he was to work with, and et cetera, et cetera. It seems like a lot of this was directed at the women on the show.
Younger women, though, because remember, we've had a lot of women, of a more mature age who did not seem to have that kind of situation on the show. Yeah.
And maybe they did, and they just weren't comfortable talking about it yet. I mean, that's how these things usually go, right? Is it takes one person and the floodgates open, and the floodgates have opened. And I'll tell you the most upsetting thing that I've seen about this is I was watching an interview with Anthony Stewart Head, who plays Giles. And they asked him about it, and he started crying, and it was clear that he hadn't slept at all the night before. And he said, I was like a father on that set. I wish they had come to me. I wish I had known. I would have done something about it. He's like, I kept myself up all night last night thinking, like, what did I miss?
What did I miss?
Yeah. And which is different than saying that, this never happened because I never saw it, which is the exact worst thing you could possibly say in these situations. I worked with a director that everyone knows, a big Hollywood director on a film in New York several years ago. And he was not just emotionally abusive and aggressive and whatever. He was also very sexually inappropriate with the younger men on set. I have been waiting a long time for stuff to come out against him, and I'm thinking it's going to be very soon because a guy that I worked with on that movie has some information that he wants to share. So nobody's safe anymore in Hollywood. You can't treat people poorly and have it come out.
Well, I think that's
not come out rather.
With social media and the accessibility and how everyone can really be themselves and tell their stories on any platform, and it's able to get picked up. I mean, today I was just watching an exclusive about TikToks in prison and how TikTok is showing, the ugly reality of what prisons are like in America. I mean, no one is safe anymore.
No, and they shouldn't be. As Will just said, they should not be safe. This needs to happen. These are things that need to be called out. And when you watch movies like that Judy Garland movie that Renee Zellweger was in, or you watch movies about like the old studio system in Hollywood and I'm trying to think of the Warner Brothers or whoever, like the heads of these studios.
Head of MGM, yeah.
They were all awful. They were all abusive. They were all whatever. And while that is not as widespread as it used to be, it is still it permeates the industry. And it permeates the industry from the bottom up, from community theaters up. So I'm happy that this is coming out. I'm happy that this is happening. And most importantly, I'm happy that we're able to have the discussion about what is appropriate versus what is inappropriate and how these like abuses of power happen and things like that. Which leads to our next thing that we have to talk about.
What do we have to talk about now?
Well, we have to talk about how we cover this on this show. So
question. Sorry. What do you mean by how we cover this? We're watching Buffy.
Yeah. So that's exactly my point. So from now on, I think that it's best that we don't discuss the personal lives or scandals or anything of any of the actors or producers or anybody involved in this, and focus if they make social media posts, fine, whatever. But I think digging into the personal lives of these people is not why we do our show. We do our show because I love this show, and because other people are experiencing it for the first time through your perspective as well.
Now, don't let that disclaimer. I'm still going to talk shit. I am.
No.
If I read something, I am talking shit for real. I am bringing it down. We are talking about it.
My point in this is we will be separating the creator of the show from the show.
Well, because the show itself, how many people, Brandon, you and I both know how many people goes into the making of a show. He may be the creator of, he wrote the first episode, he wrote the movie, he was involved with it, but there were other writers in that room. There are other people working on that show, and there are other people whose livelihoods depend on those residual checks.
Exactly.
So we will still support the Buffy, we will still support the shows, but it doesn't mean you have to support the dude who made them.
No, I agree with that, and I think that's the best way that we move forward on this is that if we focus on the show, I want the show to still be a positive thing, because this show means a lot to a lot of people. There's a reason 20 years later we're still talking about it. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to other people. And if the allegations become more than what they are, that's something we'll address as they go down the road. For now, I think the best way that we can address all this is just talk about the show, talk about how much we love the episodes, or hate the episodes in your case.
I mean,
and move forward in that well,
direction. You can see in some of these episodes how, it might have revealed itself to how that writer of that episode could have sucked as a human on some of these episodes. Now you can see even in the writings of Buffy, people reveal themselves to be who they are. And some things have happened to Buffy and some things have happened to other characters who, again, it's just revealing. This is not surprising. He has given us breadcrumbs all along the way. We know who people are.
Yeah. And
your blinders are not my problem.
Yeah. And nobody is entirely evil and nobody is entirely good, and there's dimensions to people, and people that do bad things can have good ideas.
He wrote a badass female character who has transcended years of, story development. She's phenomenal. She's fantastic. She is probably his dream woman. And that is what this is, again, so we do have to be acknowledging this is a male perspective of what a woman could be. Yeah. So I think that's also pretty revealing. Men do think we are stronger than they are. Just saying.
Yeah. So that's my take on this, and kind of where I think we should probably keep it. We'll still talk about the show. It is not an endorsement of Joss Whedon. It's not an endorsement or condemnation. It is what it is. We've addressed the elephant in the room, and I'm glad that we've got that done.
I told Nicholas Brendan, I revealed to him that I still have a 40% approval rating on this damn show. I don't care what anyone thinks. Okay.
Yeah.
Buffy fans come at me. I get it. Girl gang. I support you as humans. I support us as all people. You did some shit stuff, Joss, maybe, who knows, but it's not our point to point. It's not our place to point blame, but it is our place to talk a bunch of shit about it.
I agree.
Who cares?
And on that note, let's jump into our first episode.
Weird fucking episode.
This is a weird episode.
What?
So our first episode is the Buffy episode, Buffy versus Dracula. Still searching for normal life, Buffy is shaken by the awesome power and more than a little starstruck when she and her friends come face to face with the greatest vampire of all time, Dracula. While Buffy is powerless.
Brandon, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can we pronounce it correctly? Dracula. How gross was that, by the way? Come on. Just be Dracula. You're in California. We have an accent. Just give it up.
While Buffy is powerless under Dracula's thrall, Xander becomes the Dark One's emissary and leads his friends into peril. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Buffy, Giles is seriously contemplating returning to England as he feels that she no longer needs his help. Okay, I'm done reading the synopsis. So, this episode opens, Buffy, there's the revelation that Buffy goes out at night and stakes vampires and then goes and crawls right back into bed with Riley, and that dichotomy of like her personal life versus her slaying life,
Yeah.
And how those two intersect all the time. Then we see them at the beach, which where they are is nowhere near the beach. Like Sunnydale doesn't have a beach like that, based on the geography that we've established.
I still don't understand where on a map Sunnydale is, nor do I really care. And if they want to have a beach in Sunnydale, fine, whatever. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, also they could drive to a beach. I mean, how long is it from West Covina to the beach?
How big is a hellmouth? How big of a turd hole are we talking?
It's
like
the
what's
town
happening?
Of Sunnydale. It's a small town.
Yeah, so it's like what I think it is basically the anus of California is what I'm seeing, because it's
First of all, that is called Modesto.
I don't even know where Modesto is. I don't even know where that is.
Do you know where Fresno is?
No.
Okay, so Fresno's like the taint of
It's
California.
Away from here. It is away from here. That's all I know.
Let's say the anus of Southern California, but then you got to take in like Baker, all those towns between LA and Vegas.
I choose to not believe those towns exist sometimes.
Or you think of them as being in Nevada because they're on the way to Vegas.
Yeah, because Bakersfield sometimes thinks differently than others. Didn't they have an Adolf child?
What?
Listen, I remember reading an article about a family that lived in Bakersfield who named their kids they had their son and daughter taken away because they named their kids Adolf and Kill Jews Part 2.
They named their child Kill Jews Part 2?
I don't know. One is Adolf Hitler and the other is the other guy that killed people there.
Holocaust
I don't know.
Johnson?
No.
Holocaust Johnson is a terrible superhero.
Holocaust Johnson, you're terrible. That was brilliant, but there was a. Please, someone comment if I'm either talking out of my ass or this is something that has happened. Like their kids, the family, he's got swastikas all over. He's been to the jail. He's been all the things, and he's in the Aryan Nation in the jail. But it was like a Vice thing. I don't know, Brandon. I'm not crazy.
I mean, I believe you.
The kids got taken away, and they were named like Heil Hitler and Adolf Zimmerman. I don't know.
So I just want to say real quick, Naomi and Amy and Sarah are all having this conversation. Apparently, Freddie Prinze Jr. was supposed to play Dracula, and there was a scheduling conflict, and he wasn't able to do it. That would have been fantastic.
That would have been so much better because this Joker was like the Timothée Chalamet of Draculas. I am so upset by this.
First of all, I don't know what that means, but I don't like it because Timothée Chalamet is my boo.
Oh, it's just, I don't understand. He is like a prepubescent boy. How is he an attractive, like, sexual male character? Like,
he's
for
not
me, that is not.
And he's giving everyone at NYU syphilis right now. Haven't you been following the news?
He's giving people syphilis?
I don't think on purpose.
He is spreading the syph?
I think so.
It's not stop the seal. It's no. Terrible.
Spread the syph.
Spread the syph.
Anyway, that is allegedly. Please don't sue us, Timothée Chalamet.
Wait, but this is what I mean by
also,
that. Like, I
get
don't
on some antibiotics and call me.
Right. Okay, but listen, I don't believe Timothée Chalamet. Like, I feel like he was great in the Army Hammer, Not Cannibalism one about the orange or the peach or whatever. That one was fine. Like, that was his character. I get that.
Oh yeah, Army Hammer's a cannibal now.
Allegedly. And now he came in Miss Cayman, allegedly.
And he possibly killed 3 women at Joshua Tree State Park.
Oh, right, because he was working construction, because that's what construction people do. Like, listen, all of this shit is far-fetched, but I will say I did read that his agent and his publicist dropped him, and his publicist is one of my favorite. She is a lovely human. I love his publicist, and I feel so bad that this had to happen.
Well, you feel bad that he had to be a cannibal?
I feel bad that this was the situation her client ended up in.
As someone who's had some questionable clients, I can understand that.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry I'm sorry that was the case for you. But Timothée Chalamet as Laurie in Little Women, I found to be one of the most offensive things ever. And the other person who should be most offended by that would be Christian Bale. Okay. Because they made you a little pussy bitch, Christian. And I'm sorry.
Okay. Real quick. Adolf Hitler Campbell, Joyce Lynn Aryan Nation, and Hans Lynn Himmler Genie. But it's not Bakersfield. It's New Jersey, because of course it is. But
at least I really read. Who said that? Who put it up there? I love you, girl gang.
So Buffy and her gang are on the beach. Clearly, none of them have been in the sun in a very long time because they're all pasty white.
I was going to say, Willow, girl, I feel your pain as a fellow pale ass person.
And Willow tries to light a barbecue, but it starts raining, and they all hide from the rain. And then we see 2 guys at nighttime delivering a crate filled with
because
dirt.
she used her power, though, Brandon. She used her power to turn on the fire, and then Tara was like, "Whoa, chill out. You might light the other side," and then all of a sudden the rain starts. So Willow ruined it all for everybody.
Yes, like she do.
Whoopsie.
So these guys are moving a large crate filled with dirt into like a castle, which nobody ever realized existed. And that's not true, though. When they say that in the show, that the whole time I've lived here, I haven't seen a castle. Angel lived in a castle. We saw the castle. Well, I guess his was a mansion, but it was castle-y. Right?
I mean, it's aesthetics, all right? Like, who cares? He was living in a dark, dank place. It wasn't like a beautiful castle. It wasn't like Kensington Palace, okay? It was not a moment like that. It was like a sad, dark Edward Scissorhands place.
An Edward Scissorhands place?
Like, that's not comfy and cozy. Who wants to live there?
And then a hand breaks out of the box and attacks one of the men and one of the men and slits his throat, and then he gets all murdery. So Giles has Willow scanning the books and talking about like resources that they can use, and then he tells Willow that he is going to move back to England because Buffy hasn't needed him in a long time, and he feels like he's just there. And that's pretty accurate. And honestly, it follows up a lot with the stuff that we saw in the season 4 finale, Restless, where they're all having their dreams, and Giles is just kind of exposition guy. So I like how that was handled. Buffy is having dinner with her mom, but then she leaves to go patrol. And Buffy meets Dracula, and she tries to stake him, but he disappears into mist. And then Xander and Willow show up, and he turns into a bat and flies away. But
they saw him. They saw him before he bat formed.
Yes. And then Willow, the whole episode, Willow is making references to just how useful Giles is because she doesn't want him to go.
I know. She was like, "You're so good, Giles. Remember how you taught me to do this? Because you're so good. Because it was great."
Yeah, which I've totally done, so I can.
I do it all the time to people.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, don't think just because I snapped at you one time, don't think I don't appreciate you because I think you're really great and I just think you're awesome. Just letting you know I do.
Yes, I think
you're
you've done
great.
that to me.
Yeah,
I also think I've done that to you.
Yeah. It's called the compliment sandwich, so things don't feel so bad. You're like, you're so pretty, you're so great. You fucking sucked at that, but also you're the best, and I love your hat.
But you're so good at so many things. Yeah, I do it constantly.
Yeah. We all have our cross to bear, don't we?
Kyle C says hello. Hi, Kyle.
Oh, hey, Kyle. What's going on?
So where was I? Okay.
Are we doing shout outs now? What is this?
No, I just saw some.
You just saw someone show up and you were like, hey, let's be friends.
Well, he said hello. He's commenting on our thing. Hello, Kyle.
Kyle's like, stop talking about me. It's so uncomfortable.
So Xander's walking home alone, and he runs into Dracula, and Dracula basically turns him into Renfield, like makes him his
know, it was so sad. And also Xander, like, bro, sometimes you can't be smart.
Riley goes to Spike and asks Spike a bunch of questions, and Spike is like, do I know the guy? He owes me $5 or whatever he says. Like, Spike knows who. Spike is like just shoehorned into this episode as somebody who knows who Dracula is. Where were we? Yes, okay. So Buffy wakes up and finds Dracula in her bedroom. He like seduces her with his magic Dracula powers, and he bites her and he drinks from her, but he doesn't kill her. It's
a question about that whole biting thing, because I did my research before this show. So apparently there is like big significance here where she was bitten because the master bit her there and Angel bit her there, and now Dracula is biting her there. It's like, first of all, how do you become a vampire? Like, what are their criteria?
Well, they've established this. So they have to drain your blood until your heart is about to stop, and then they cut themselves and you drink their blood, and then you become a vampire.
So they're just taking little sips off of Buffy, like a little bump here, a little hit here.
Yeah. Okay. Like they were doing in that episode in The Wish, the episode where Cordelia wishes that Buffy never came to Sunnydale, and they have that machine that drains blood without killing the person.
Yeah.
Like that.
God.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And who didn't think Joss Whedon was a little after that episode? Come on.
Joss didn't invent vampires.
No, but he did invent a vampire machine. A human juicer, for fuck's sake, man.
Jack LaLanne human juicer.
Here's a Capri Sun human.
Well, he did have fruit punch mouth.
Exactly. And you know what fruit punch mouth is sometimes too, is also for what do they call it? Red wings. You get your red wings.
Oh no, we're not doing that. That's a different show.
That's a different show, but that's also a thing.
So Buffy wakes up in the morning and she covers her neck with a scarf because she doesn't want them to see that Dracula fed on her. Buffy's like super distracted, and she leaves the room when everybody's talking about what to do. And then Riley's like, "You're under control of Dracula. I know it." And then she takes the scarf off, and he's like, "See, I told you."
You're Winona Ryder in that Keanu Reeves Winona Ryder Dracula movie guy thing. That's what's happening here.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I felt like he was saying.
Yeah, it was heavily implied. I don't think he said you're Winona Ryder because that would have been very confusing. Does Winona Ryder exist in this universe?
Yes, she's yes, they have celebrities in Sunnydale, even if it's the anus hellhole.
Yes. So where were we? Okay. So Xander is under control of Dracula and he is eating spiders and flies and stuff, which is gross. You
They have
hated
a lot of protein. No, listen, I have eaten bugs before. Not as Xander did, but when I was in Japan, and in China, I ate some crickets. I ate a scorpion. That was strange.
Yeah. In Bangkok, they have them at street markets everywhere, too.
Yeah, and it's like on a stick, and there's like 5 of them, and they're like, here you go. And you're like, wait a second.
Tarantulas.
Like, don't eat the stinger.
Oh! I didn't do it, but I saw a lot of other people do it.
I did that. I tried it. Nope.
Okay, so
they're very crunchy. I like texture, so crunchy was good for me.
Yeah, Xander is like, oh, Buffy can stay at my place, whatever. Willow and Tara put spells on Buffy's house because Buffy's mom invited Dracula in because she thought he was so nice and she's so single and alone, which I get.
You know why? Because he's Timothy Chalamet unassuming, like a little boy, so no one's afraid of you.
No one's afraid of your syphilis.
No one's afraid of you in the Sif. Bring your friend with you. It
might have been gonorrhea. I don't remember now. But either way, it's something you can get a shot for and then problem solved.
Hey, Brenton, was it the...
I think it might have been the... So Willow and Tara use their magic to defend the house. Riley and Giles go after Dracula. Anya bitches about how she wants to go after Dracula herself. And Xander locks
because she knew him.
Because she knew him. They dated.
They dated for a hot second. You know,
when she was a young thing. When she was a young thing of only 700.
I mean, Anya got around.
Yeah, Anya is great. I love her. Xander locks her in the closet, and Xander takes Buffy to his master so that he can be turned into a vampire, which he wants.
He's like, I get to be like immortal and stuff, and she's like, cool. Take me to him. Shut up, Buffy.
So Buffy tries to take control and stake Dracula, but he makes her put it down, and then he like convinces her to drink his blood using hypnosis or whatever, and like see the darkness inside of her. But all that does is just make her just flip out. Like
it pissed her off.
Yeah.
Yeah. She wasn't into it, Drac. No means no.
Yes. Yeah. It was, and it just reminded her of all the vampires that she's killed or whatever. And then she's like, bam, 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 got you. She beats the shit out of him. She stakes him. He turns to dust. In the meanwhile, Riley is trying to help Giles because Giles fell into a basement where some vampire ladies started getting necky with him. And
oh my God, that was he was loving that rundown.
That was great. It's one of my favorite scenes of the whole episode where he's like, maybe just one more minute. Well, I was about to defeat them. I loved it. And Buffy and Giles meet. Oh, okay. So every time Buffy stakes Dracula, he comes back because she's like, I've seen your movies. I know you come back. So she finally stakes him again, and then he like zooms off in the other direction.
So she stakes him the first time. They all leave. She comes back, and he's like, ha ha ha, stakes him again. I know you come back, and then he starts to do it again. She's like, I am still
right. And then he zooms off somewhere else,
and then elsewhere he goes.
And we never see him again.
Bye. Thank God, because I feel like I wish that would happen. You know what? I don't want that to happen to Timothy Chalamet. That's not what I want to happen to him. But I would like him to not star as like the male heartthrob lead, because it's just, for me, that is not exciting. I don't want to watch that movie.
So basically what you're saying is if they reboot Buffy, Timothy Chalamet should play Dracula.
Yeah.
Okay. So Buffy goes to Giles, and Giles is like, I have something to tell you. And she's like, let me tell you something first.
She's like, me first. I have things to say. I have emotions.
Yeah. And she's like, I've been trying to figure out where my power comes from, what I'm doing. like what all this is about. I need you to stay and help me. I need you. And he's like, oh, well, never mind that thing I was going to tell you because I was about to yeet the hell out of Sunnydale.
Is that what yeet means?
Yeah, like leave quickly.
Yeet means leave?
Yeah, like leave, like yeet, like leave to escape from something you don't want to deal with.
Why was that the biggest reveal of the show for me?
Well, the next reveal is pretty big.
Oh, so yeah, it's big, but yeet was bigger for me just now.
So Buffy comes home and tells her mom she's going to go out with Riley. She goes into a room, and there's a girl going through her stuff, and Joyce is like, take your sister.
Michelle Trachtenberg. What are you
Joyce
doing
is like,
here?
Take your sister with you if you go out. And then Buffy and Dawn both scream out, Mom!
Who's Dawn?
Dawn
how do I know her name yet?
I don't know her name yet, but her name is Dawn.
I knew that, but
you knew that. You knew that for a couple of reasons. You mostly knew that because in Restless, in the Dream episode, Tara tells Buffy to come back before dawn, and you're like, Dawn must be the name of her sister. And I was like, maybe.
I know things. I'm a genius. You guys.
Also, the thing that Dracula says to Buffy, where she says, "You think you know what you are, what's to come. You haven't even whatever it was. You think you know what you are, what's to come. You haven't even begun." I don't know. I had it here somewhere, but it's gone now. That is what Tara said to Buffy in the Dream episode as well. So
I don't like Tara.
Okay.
I just want to voice that now. Season 5, episode 1. I don't like Tara.
Yeah.
So, I don't like her. I don't like her like at all. Like I like Jenny Calendar more than I like Tara right now.
Before we get to our final thoughts on this episode, here's a little bit of trivia. Buffy in the original script, Buffy burns Dracula with a torch, and then he jumps out a window, changes into a wolf, and runs off into the woods. The vampire that was going to show Buffy the darker side of herself was originally supposed to be just another vampire who rode a horse and was all cool. And Marty Noxon, the writer, kept saying, like Dracula, until He Who Shall Not Be Named said, why not Dracula? He's public.
Okay, Brandon, lost you entirely there, so I don't know what you said.
I'm so sorry. They were saying that he was going to be just another vampire who rode a horse and was all cool. And Marty Noxon said, you mean like Dracula? Until they finally decided, let's just make it Dracula because he's public domain.
Well, yeah, why didn't they just do that in the first place? Why do you have to be extra creative? Dracula is what people... Listen, don't try to rewrite history, okay?
Emma Caulfield is added to the opening credits. She is Anya. She's added to the opening credits in this episode.
Sorry, Emma. I'm not with you, girl.
Wait, you like Anya?
Oh, Anya. I like you. Yeah. Sorry. What's Tara's name? I don't like her.
Amber Benson is Tara.
Amber, listen, girl, I can't.
I grew to like Tara, but I wasn't crazy about Tara when she started either. But we'll see if you come around on her. We'll see.
She reminds me of a sad basset hound.
We have 2 new stunt doubles for Buffy. Her original stunt double, Sophia Crawford, was fired before this episode.
Why?
Joss stuff. Even back then.
Really?
Yeah, her and the stunt coordinator got in a fight with Joss about something. So I'll go back and read up about that
again. Why are we surprised? It just astounds me. And everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe they came out about it. Listen, he's been telling you who he is the whole time.
Michelle Trachtenberg, this is her first appearance in the series. Of course, people know her from Harriet the Spy and Pete and
Gossip Girl.
And Gossip Girl. This was pre-Gossip Girl, though. So
yeah,
this
I
was
know.
Like before that. She was like a child star, and this was her first like teen role.
It was. I know. I loved Harriet the Spy with Rosie O'Donnell. I loved Euro Trip. Also, she makes out with her twin brother in that, which is disgusting.
Apparently, I did not know this, but in Australia, when the season 4 finale aired, so the season 4 was the nightmare episode, Restless, the dream episode. Apparently, in Australia, they put that bit with Buffy and Dawn at the end of the season 4 finale, so it was a huge cliffhanger to the next season who this girl was.
I think that would have been better. I
kind of agree with you.
Way better.
I kind of think so too.
I think Australia might be smarter than the U.S.
What else do we have here? Oh, some international titles. The Czech title is Buffy proti Draculovi, or Buffy versus Dracula.
Stupid.
The Japanese title is Dracula, or Dracula.
Creative Japan. Creative.
Yeah, exactly. The Italian title is Il Morso del Vampiro, the Vampire's Bite.
Okay, that's not terrible.
And the rest of them are all just Buffy versus Dracula. So there you go.
Italiano for the win.
Yes, and a pizza. Somebody touch my spaghetti. And what else?
You guys, can I just tell you, between episodes, my hair looks great today.
Rudolph Martin, who played Dracula, played Sarah Michelle Gellar's love interest Anton on All My Children. I did not know that. And
as a child,
when they were young.
Yeah, because he looks like a listen. Also, I heard that Timothy Chalamet goes by Timmy, which I'm sorry. I think you can age out of Timmy.
And then he also later played Vlad the Impaler for a TV miniseries called Dark Prince: The True Story of Dracula, where he played young Vlad the Impaler.
Young Vlad the Impaler, because
he looks like a child. Got it.
He looks like a child.
Okay, so before we get to our final,
like a child.
Before we get to our final thoughts and ratings on this episode, I do want to ask you, because everyone in the comments is asking,
where I got my hair done.
Who do you think Dawn is? Where do you think she came from?
We know it's the sister, you guys.
Yes.
I think this. Can I give my review of the episode while answering this question?
Yeah, let's do it.
This whole episode to me was a full-on kerfuffle. They were like, wait a second, we've got to get this storyline in about the sister somehow. We haven't thought about it all the way, per usual. I feel like we're a last-minute kind of team, if you know what I mean. So let's just remember the script we started writing about Dracula. Let's just finish it, because I'm not sure who this vampire is going to be, but I feel like Dracula is an easy one. Just throw it in there. Are we starting around Halloween? People who know who Dracula is, if our first episode is somewhere near Halloween, this is all the executives and Badas Badidin talking about, how they're going to start this series 5, because now you're in it and you don't want to jump the shark, but maybe you're going to jump the shark, and maybe the shark needs to be jumped. Who knows? So I feel like this is what's happening. I feel like we're getting sharky. I feel like we're getting jumpy. And I feel like they were like, we need a vehicle for this reason. We need a vehicle for this storyline. So it is jumpy. It is weird. It makes no sense. That was the most unattractive Dracula, probably top 5 most unattractive Draculas of all time.
Did you at least laugh sometimes?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It wasn't terrible. Look, this episode wasn't terrible. It was just choppy though, and poorly thought out.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's a weird episode. So I feel like this is going to be a weird season. I feel like maybe some of the writers were fighting. And so they were like, you get to write the beginning. I'm going to write the end and the lead into the next episode. And we don't have to talk this week.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like things are going in the writing room. And I don't know. I'll give it a C.
So to me,
also, but who the fuck, Dawn is the sister. I get it. I don't know where she came from. I don't think they've decided where she's come from yet.
They know where she's come from.
I don't, but Brandon, is it one of those oh, we have to introduce this, but where did she come from? Is this well thought out about how she got there? No, I feel like it's going to be because of Adam or some weird bullshit.
I think we'll find out next week.
Great. And you know why? It's because someone else wrote the next episode. I bet you money. Let's find out who wrote this one and who wrote the next one, and see. They're probably not talking, and they were mad at each other that week.
So to me, this episode toys with our perception of what Sunnydale is and the reality of what's going on, and what to expect. I agree that it's haphazard. It's weirdly shot. Even the directing is weird. When they go to the beach, it looks like some Archie comic bullshit. It doesn't look like Buffy. I don't know. I thought that it was. There's a lot of humor in it. It's very funny, especially the stuff with Xander as Renfield and Giles in the basement, that sort of thing. I Yeah, I agree. It's very weird. It doesn't really work. Spike has no point in being in it at all. Neither does Anya, and Tara's just not in it, and Willow's barely in it. Like they they really made a choice. Yeah,
The only time Willow is in that garish pink number that really made her look very wide from straight on and very skinny from the side. It was not a great outfit.
yeah. I think this episode is I like the reveal at the end. And when we were watching it when I was watching it for the first time, listen, 2021 years ago, I was watching this for the first time, and right.
When I was in 2000, I had just graduated 6th grade.
Yeah, so I was in high school, and I watched this, and I was just going, "What the hell is what is this? What is happening?" So I'm excited to go through this journey with you again because it's something that I haven't been through in 21 years. Speaking of things I haven't been through in 21 years, I should give it a rating. I'll give it like a C+. There was clever jokes. It was weird, but it kind of worked, and I like the reveal at the end.
I don't get I don't understand what the real reveal is going to be, so yeah. I don't care yet.
Buffy has a sister.
Yeah, great. Where did she come from?
Right. Okay. Speaking of stuff from 21 years ago, we have a Patreon page. And after this episode, all of our live video episodes where you can comment and interact and talk with us while we do the show will only be for Patreon subscribers. This is our last publicly live episode, apart from a few specials we might do down the road. So if you want to join our Patreon, it's $5 a month. Patreon.com/GerardCast. Nope, I lied. Patreon.com/GAC Podcast. We changed it. So GAC Podcast. And it's $5 a month. You get access to our live episodes, to some exclusive content and interviews. You can come and join us for one of our after talks. We'll once a week we'll be doing a show that's just like interacting with the fans and talking to the fans. That's weird. Followers and talking to them about what's going on.
Can we just call them the Gur Gang?
Yeah, that's
Gur Gang.
And tonight, actually, let's say tomorrow night, which is Monday, I will have this episode up on our public Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all those podcast sites. So the day after we do our show, it'll be available in audio form. But if you want to watch the live video and interact with us, you got to join the Patreon, $5 a month. However, tomorrow night, I will be doing something very special. Jewel, this is going to kill you.
No.
I found this when I was going through some stuff here at my stepdad's house because I'm in Texas. I found this. And this is a letter that I wrote to my mother in 2001 when I came out of the closet to her.
You just froze too, so that made it even better. No, you what you said came through, but then it froze.
I have not read this since I wrote it 20 years ago.
Are we reading this live on air?
I'm going to read this tomorrow on our Patreon page.
On Patreon.
So all of our Patreon subscribers. I have no idea what it says. It's probably some melodramatic bullshit. There's probably some weird song lyrics in it. It's sitting right here until tomorrow, when I will be reading it on our page. And again, you can join our Patreon, patreon.com/GAC podcasts.
GAC.
Okay. GAC. Remember GAC from the 90s?
I fucking love GAC. Don't get me started.
Okay, let me switch my notes over to the other episode. So this episode is the season 2 premiere of Angel. The episode is called Judgment.
Woo!
So this episode introduces a character that I really love and that sticks around for a long time, which I am happy for. So, and his name is Lorne, but we don't learn it in this episode. He is the green karaoke demon. And he stays.
Why?
For quite some time. He's a very interesting character, I promise.
By the way, the karaoke for me was like that.
Did it at least make you laugh? No.
I was horrified. I am not one of those people you take to karaoke. I don't karaoke because I am embarrassed for the people who get up there to like have a good time. And I get it. Like, go, you have a good time, but also like be a friend. Where are your parents? Where is someone to tell you sit down?
I love karaoke.
I don't like that at all. I can do maybe like the Korean kind where you're like in your own, or the Japanese kind where you're in your own little room and they bring you drinks and snacks. But also that's really just me like watching the music videos, having a sing along and eating a snack.
Yeah, no, I love like a karaoke bar. I actually don't like the Asian style like karaoke rooms. I like a big karaoke bar with a stage in the middle and people just badly singing Don't Look Back in Anger or Sweet Caroline. I own a karaoke bar in Thailand. That's how much I love karaoke. So
I want to die.
Lauren is my jam. So the episode opens with Lauren singing I Will Survive, but he enters the frame like it's going to be like a deep, dark moment, but he actually starts singing I Will Survive.
First I was afraid, and first I was petrified.
And then we see Cordelia in the middle of an acting class in exactly as bad of acting as Cordelia could be expected to have. Sarah says she wants to go to karaoke with me. Well, anytime you want, hon. I don't know where you are,
Take
but we'll
him.
make it work.
Take him. Go with him, please. Someone. No, I'm not going. I'm not invited. I'm not going. Don't even ask me.
Well, when we eventually do Gerard Con, we will be having karaoke night, and you can go do something else.
And we can have an anti-karaoke corner is really
Deal.
what's going to happen.
Deal.
Oh, God. If I could make an anti-karaoke club, like a national thing, I would.
And Wesley and Cordy. Oh, Wesley is playing darts because apparently he's really good at darts. And Wesley and Cordy both get messages on their beepers saying 911. Joel, can you explain real quick to anyone under 30 what a beeper is?
Oh my God, I wanted one so badly. I wanted one so badly in the 90s. It was I still don't actually understand what it is all the way because I was a bit on the younger side. It was a little gadget Madoo that like clipped onto your pants, and it could be in different colors. Those were the great ones if it was like a color. And if someone would beep you a series of numbers, and it would mean like call me back or something. But my question for that is, how do you know who 911 paged you?
Well, maybe Angel's the only one that has their pager number. And also
but I think the number should come up under it.
That's what I'm thinking. Like it would have like one line. It would be like the phone number and then the message underneath.
But that means you would have to know people's phone numbers, which is not a thing today.
Alice has 2 beepers, but that's because Alice is a doctor.
That's because she's a doctor.
Doctors still have them because they can't have their cell phones on the
Operating
floors, but I
floor.
understand. Is that right? I don't know. Maybe Alice will tell us. If only we had a
Dr.
doctor.
Alice, why do you have a beeper?
Why do you still have a beeper? Okay. So they go to a gym, they kick in a mirror, there's a sacrifice about to happen. Angel stops the sacrifice and saves the 2 people there and kills the demon there, and then tells the gym manager that the guys were on steroids. So we go back to Cordelia's apartment because remember that the Angel Investigations office exploded in the finale of season 1.
Right, so they have to work with Dennis now all the time.
Yeah, Dennis, who I love, by the way. Dennis is such a good character.
Who plays Dennis, Brandon? Who plays Dennis?
Wait, we covered this in last season, and now I don't remember. No, nobody plays him now.
Uh-huh.
But
how do you still love the character? I'm just saying.
I just do. Wesley is trying to figure out what Wolfram and Hart raised earlier, and have they already faced it? What's going on? And Cordy has a vision about a demon that she doesn't recognize, but she's like, it's super nasty looking.
It was lumpy.
It was lumpy, and Wesley starts to research that. We're back at Wolfram and Hart. Lila is visiting Lindsay, who has a new prosthetic hand, and Darla is there in the office. She's still recovering because she was in hell, and they raised her out of hell.
And she's playing the piano. Wasn't she playing the piano?
I thought she was like fiddling with something. I don't really
She
remember.
was doing something with her hands.
I was folding laundry at the time, so I don't remember.
Sometimes when I'm watching Angel, like, I just start thinking about other things.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Darla senses the Angel's in the city, and she remembers how he killed her. And they look forward to the prospect of messing with Angel. And meanwhile, Angel's attempting to sketch the demon that Cordelia saw. But Cordy recognizes the demon in one of the books that Wesley's holding. They go out. It's called the Prio Moto. It's a vicious killer. So Wesley is like, we know this parasite demon named Merle. He'll be able to help us.
Merle, of course. He knows.
We have to go to this karaoke bar. So they go to our favorite karaoke bar, where there's a guy singing I'm So Excited. And it makes me laugh so much because he just looks so happy singing it.
Well, no, it reminds me of Jesse Spano saying, I'm so excited. I'm
She was on her pep pills.
Yeah, she had her caffeinated moment.
So they go to they find Merle there. They ask him questions. They give him money, and he's like, "Here's where you can find this thing." Angel goes there. He kills the demon because there's a woman there with him, played by Justine Machado, who is on One Day at a Time and was on Jane the Virgin. She's like quite successful now. She's the mom on One Day at a Time.
You go, Justine.
You go, Machado. And it turns out that he was her protector, that she has something that needs protecting, and he was her protector. And that there's some kind of like tribunal that has to happen, and that he needed to be there for that. She doesn't have a lot of details, right? Oh, and she's pregnant. I don't know if I said that
because
already.
you always are.
Yeah. And so she flees. Cordy realizes that her vision was meant to send Angel to help this demon instead of killing it. Which she, maybe should have been a little bit more clear on that. And Angel decides that he's going to take it on himself to protect this woman
because he killed an innocent.
Yeah. To skip ahead a bit because we're running short on time. Gunn has this talisman, and he's there to help protect, to help investigate and protect people and whatever. He has this talisman that he takes to Angel's place, to Cordelia's apartment. And Angel needs that talisman in order to help this woman. She gets pissed off. She's going to leave. And then two of these other demons come. Angel fights them, kills them all. Or actually, yeah, Angel fights them and kills them. And then more demons appear. So they run away. At Cordelia's apartment, they're doing their research. Gunn shows up with the talisman. There we go. I said that already. Angel and Joe go and hide in an abandoned hotel. Angel says that the tribunal is supposed to offer protection for her and her daughter, and that this guy that Angel killed was meant to present the talisman and be her champion. And Joe runs off, basically. And Angel finds out that Joe never turned up back at the apartment. And so she's there. The tribunal is happening. They just appear on the street to her. And they're like, "Hey, it's tribunal time." Well, you don't have you don't have a protector. You don't have a whatever it is, like a representative. So you're gonna have to die, basically, like everything you want. And we find out that like the baby that she's pregnant with is going to be some kind of seer or acolyte or whatever. Who cares? Angel shows up with the talisman. He gets on a horse. He fights the other guy. He kills the other guy.
I know. What was the point of the horse?
That was like a medieval thing.
Stupid.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb.
Hey, let's add more props.
And then the demon like stabs Angel in the gut with a sword.
Whoopsie.
And they're like, "Well, you lose, so I guess you can eat this woman's baby," or whatever they want to do now. And then Angel actually isn't dead because he's a vampire, so he stands up and he cuts off the demon's head. And then Angel's like, the tribunal is like, "Hey, you and your child are under protection until this girl comes of age." So all this is over. Angel realizes that he doesn't need to keep count of his victories, that he just needs to constantly be doing this. And then the best part of the episode, in my opinion, happens where we see Angel go and visit Faith in prison, which I thought was very sweet.
Bring back Faith.
Yeah, that scene, that he's still keeping tabs on her, that he still cares about her and making sure she's better, and she is getting better, and it's clear that she's getting better. Yeah. I did skip over the bit where Angel sings Mandy at the karaoke bar so that Lauren can help him, but we're not going to talk about that because that was so bad.
You know why we're not going to talk about it? Because it reminded me of one of my favorite movies, Can't Hardly Wait, with a young Seth Green with dyed hair and goggles. Also
Amber Benson, who plays Tara, is also in that movie.
Right. I didn't like her in that movie either. She's sad.
Yeah, I love the ending of that episode.
Wait, was Amber Benson the redhead who sleeps with Seth Green?
Yep.
Oh, I liked her in that, but I don't like. She should play that character, have short hair, and have it dyed a color because the mousy is not her thing.
Let's see. Eliza Dushku is credited in the closing credits of this episode instead of the opening ones because they wanted to be a surprise that she'd be in it. And it's also kind of intended to show that she could show up at any time. J. August Richards, who plays Gunn, has joined the regular cast, and he's billed from now on in the opening credits.
Is that the bad guy who has the floppy hair like Andrew Keegan?
No, Gunn is the black guy.
Oh, right, the hot one.
Yeah. And this is also Andy Hallett's first appearance as Lorne. At this point, he's known as the host, but he will be back. What do I have in terms of?
I think that's it. I don't think anyone cares anymore. We're at the end of the show, but I'm going to give my honest.
Wait. I have foreign language titles.
Are they even good?
The French title is Le Jugement, or the Judgment, and the German title is Das Tribunal, or the Tribunal. So the answer is no, they were not good.
Waste
All right,
of time.
Final thoughts, letter rating. Let's go.
I don't know. In Angel terms, I'll give it a C.
I like this episode. The bit with the tribunal is stupid, but I like that they kind of throw all this together with the understanding that like this doesn't need to make sense. It's just what Angel's daily life is. This is what his job is now. And I think it works in that regard. I love the karaoke bar. I love Lorne. And I love when he goes to visit Faith. And I also think that Cordelia and Wesley show that they're part of the team and they're very useful in this regard. And I love that Gunn is back. Angel season 2 is probably my favorite season of Angel.
Well, I hope it gets better than this because this was stupid.
I'm going to give it a B-. Maybe a C+. Let's go C+. I'll give it the same as Buffy. C+. Both of them are just fine episodes.
It was a C+ week, people. Yes. It was a C week. This was not a great week. Nothing spectacular happened, but nothing good at all happened.
Correct. All right, Jewel. We didn't talk at the beginning about things we're watching. Watch WandaVision. That's all I have to say. I love it.
I watched Firefly.
Did you really?
Firefly Lane, and I'm loving
Firefly
it.
Lane, very different show.
Firefly Lane, the Katherine Heigl one is great.
Okay, those are our recommendations. I recommend
I'll talk about it next week.
Jewel recommends Firefly Lane. We'll talk about it next week. You guys have a great day. Bye, everybody. Stay strong and grr arg.
Grr arg.